is a joy to have Miss Jeannie Fisher speak to us today and to share her heart of what God's done in her life, what He's currently doing. I'm sure she'll be talking about the food pantry and giving us more information about that ministry as well. Miss Jeannie Fisher.
It's my pleasure to be here with you today, and we left out Jeff. Jeff, do you have a favorite?
Ice cream.
Hey, we're on the same page. Julie's right. I will be talking about the food pantry today. My daughter Donna came in. She said, "Mama, I didn't bring my Bible because food pantry is not mentioned in the Bible." And it's not, but we are commissioned to feed the hungry. So it's in the Bible, just not a specific verse about the food pantry. A lot of you know my background, my story, but I see some visitors here with us, so I'm just going to share a little bit. I was married for almost 50 years, and when my husband was in his mid-40s, he had his first heart attack. Approximately 4 months after his first heart attack, he had bypass surgery on our 25th wedding anniversary. Very expensive anniversary, but it just went downhill from that. The doctor told us that he had a very aggressive and progressive heart disease, and the doctor turned out to be exactly right. I worked for the school system, and when I turned 60, I realized I was needed more at home. At that point, it was hard for Bud to get around. He couldn't be left alone for a whole long time. Anyway, I thought, he needs me at home more than Collier Light Middle School needs me. So I retired at 60, and he lived for 6 years after I retired. His 7th heart attack took him home. Over the years, he had, well, actually, I quit counting at 33 heart catheterizations. He started out having multiple angioplasties, which is the balloon, and then doctors progressed to stents, and he had several stents. So it really was just a progressive thing. And probably for the last 5 years of his life, we seldom left the house except to go to the doctor. We were like shut-ins. Our entire marriage, we had been active in church. As Pastor Dean would say, members in good standing. we were very active, and to be cut off totally, you just don't know till you've been there. It was not a good experience. But after he passed, I was so eager to get back in church and to do something I just wanted to do. He died on a Saturday. His services were on Monday. I seriously doubt if I came to church that Wednesday night, but Sunday morning I was right back in, and I just wanted to do. A lady approached me and asked me about helping her with the ministry. I said, "Let me pray about it." And to be honest, it was a children's ministry, and I thought, man, I have 4 children. I have 10 grandchildren. I spent 30 years in education. Do I really want to do this? So I did earnestly pray about it, and I never got a direct response from God. So I told my friend, I said, "I'm sorry, I just don't think that's for me." It was very shortly after that Dean called. He was Dean then, not Pastor Dean, just plain Dean. He said, "Can you come in and talk to me about something?" And I thought, oh, what have I done? You know, it's like being called into the principal's office. That's not always a bad thing. He talked to me about food pantry. I said, "Yes, I'll do it." I said, "I don't even have to pray about it because I already have." And it was like a light bulb moment. Yes, this is for me. This is what I'm supposed to do. Did I know anything about it? Well, no. Not a thing. So what I did was started visiting around, to other food pantries, and I liked something here, I didn't like something there. I thought this would be best for us. No, we can't do that. I visited and I took notes, and I asked about all the paperwork that's involved, and I just started doing it. Just got in there and did it. Several months ago, Pastor Barry was preaching on Wednesday night, and he talked about the will of God. He said, how many times have you heard somebody say, I just don't know what the will of God is for my life. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Pastor Barry said, get in there and do, and the what will be revealed. And it just thought, that's me. You know, I just wanted to do, and God revealed what he wanted me to do. So I did all this visiting and trying to absorb everything I could. That started our food pantry journey in 2015. This is the display, thanks to Karen Hancock, that we had at our mission fair, and that's the sample of the things we give out. There's freebies. Whitley's provided scratch pads, and this is some of Patty. Patty Uri is babysitting so her children could go to the marriage retreat this weekend, so she can't be here, but she's our health and wellness, and we do work together at the mission house. She's got these freebies if you'd like to come up later and just take what you need. I went to one pantry giveaway, and the director knew who I was and that I was coming, but she did not introduce me to people. Well, they had clients, I'll call them clients, they had clients come in, and in the back room, volunteers were packing boxes right then. That I don't operate that way. I have to be done in advance. If I had waited till the last minute, just bury me or something. It just wouldn't work. But anyway, I walked back in the food room where they were packing boxes, and everybody got quiet. And I thought, what's wrong? Do I look mean or something? They were under Second Harvest out of Charlotte, who's very, very rule oriented. They thought I was an inspector. So they immediately hushed and, were doing things just to the T. And I introduced myself and told them what I was there for. So they got to talking to me then. But anyway, I thought, no, I want it done beforehand. I don't want a client to be standing there waiting on food to be brought out. That's just not me. I looked at application forms because you need some paperwork to back up what you're doing. And I thought, well, we can do this and we can't do that. We got that situated. Pastor Dean had mentioned a lady to me that had expressed interest in helping with the food pantry. And I'm going to be very careful about not mentioning names because I would not leave anyone out for anything. But the person he mentioned to me was Carrie Furr. She was brand new to our church. I didn't have a clue who she was. Dean described her to me, and on a Wednesday night I was walking down the hallway and she passed me, and I thought, that's Carrie. I could tell from the description, so I turned around and I said, Carrie? And she turned around and she said, yes, ma'am. That was the beginning of our friendship, and she was so helpful to me to start off. She had children. She said, my kids like this, my kids don't like that. Of course, every kid's not alike, but she had a general concept of good things. We planned our menu, and it wasn't an overnight thing. I can tell you, we struggled with it. We say, okay, we want cereal. No, we don't want cereal. We want oatmeal. No, we don't want oatmeal. We want cereal. This kind of thing, back and forth and back and forth. So we came up with 18 items, and the majority of them are right over here. But our concept was something for breakfast, something for lunch, something for dinner, and a snack. And that is the basis of what we give out to our clients every single month when we do our food pantry. Well, when we started, somebody had written a grant or asked for a grant money from Walmart, and they gave us $1,000, and that was our startup. Carrie, she has a van. Carrie and I and her daughter Emily went to Walmart, and we had a ball. I mean, this was like free money. We started up our pantry. We bought all this food. I talked to managers. I think every food manager in Kannapolis knows me by sight. And I would ask for donations and actually turn down most of the time. Once in a while, Publix did give us a gift card. And I thought, I could probably spend this on one aisle in Publix. So I gave it to one of our couponers and said, you can make this go a whole lot further than me. You don't have to spend it all at once, but will you use this at Publix with your knowledge? And so she did, and I know she got a whole lot more than I would have gotten if I went in there. Anyway, we were prepared. We had our food, and I thought, okay, it's time for a volunteer meeting. I had job descriptions for what I felt like we needed at pantry, like I need ladies to be secretaries. I needed somebody at the file cabinet. I needed traffic control outside. There was just various positions. So Dean called for a volunteer meeting, and I'm thinking, what if nobody comes? What will I do? This room was full. I promise you, this room was full. So very excited. So we went through little mini training sessions. Everybody signed up for what they felt like they wanted to do at pantry, and it was just a wonderful meeting. So, hey, we're ready for our first giveaway. October of 2015, I had about 20 volunteers come to help, and families came. It was disappointing in a way, but it was encouraging in a way that 10's better than nothing. 10's better than 1. We had signs to put up, and I still put those signs up a week before every pantry. But anyway, word spread apparently, because the next month we had 47 families show up, and only 1 had come in October and come back in November. So we had 46 new families. Y'all, that number has grown since then. We have served over 100 families. Our good average is 85. We do pantry once a month, the second Tuesday of every month, and it's continually growing. On our first anniversary, we had a party, thanks to Julie. We had cake and, just had a nice party to celebrate our first year at pantry. Along with our application process, we put in a prayer sheet. If anybody has a prayer request, they can fill out that, and I still have every single one of them from 2015 in a stack, and I get them out occasionally, periodically I should say, read over them, pray about it. But just to give you an idea of some of the things we have come up against, I had a mom that wanted prayer, and during pantry, if they want prayer right then, one of the secretaries will just call me, and I'll take them somewhere private. Sometimes it's out in the yard. Sometimes it's in another room. It's just all according. But I had a mom, brokenhearted. She had 2 sons in prison for drug dealing, and she was brokenhearted and wanted me to pray right then with her. Another time, this breaks my heart, had a grandmother whose daughter-in-law had run off with the grandbaby. She didn't know where the baby was. She didn't know if they were alive or dead. She wanted me to pray with her. That's tough, y'all. That's tough situations. Another time, a lady came in, and I'll say she was in her late 40s. She had 2 daughters that were not toddlers, but almost teenagers. Her husband, out of the blue, walked out. Left her in the home. She lived in a nice brick home, but she couldn't make payments. She had always been a stay-at-home mom. She never had the experience to go out and work. She said, and she just cried. She said, I can't believe I'm here getting food. It was just humiliating to her. That is the one time that I was led to send a personal card to that lady. She just literally broke my heart. She came back a month or so later and just hugged me, and she said, the card came at the perfect time. She said, I was just ready to give up. And I said, honey, it was a God thing. God told me to send you that card. Like I say, that's the only time in all these years that I have been personally led to do something like that. But this is, and not every situation is like that, but this is what we deal with at Pantry. It's people that need us so very badly. And of course, I'm always honored and willing to pray with them. One of our church members asked me if I would take a donation of juice. Well, I take any donation. I don't turn it down. It does not have to be these specific items. We take anything and I give it away. I said, yes, I'll be glad to take your juice. Well, at the next giveaway, a lady came through, and I knew that she had children, grown children living with her. She had her grandchildren living with her. She had taken in a niece and a nephew that was going to be turned over to the social service department, whatever. So she took them in. So when she came through, I said, would you like to have some juice? She started crying. She said, my babies have had nothing but water for 2 weeks. We're so fortunate. We just don't know. Well, I was relaying that story to somebody and was asked, do you know the name of that person? I said, well, yes, I do. She said, I want to help. So for the last several years at Christmas, that family has been helped by somebody in our church that just has a heart. So anyway, in April of 2017, this is kind of funny. I had a church member come to me and say, I went to Sam's and I bought a whole case of toilet paper and I just don't like it. Can you use it? I said, well, sure. So that was our first paper product donation. When we gave it out at the next pantry, you'd think it was gold. I mean, and this was pre-COVID. I mean, this was in 2017. They were so thankful just to get this toilet paper, and I thought, well, Dean hasn't put a limit on me. He's kind of giving me a free hand to do what I want to do. When I said I need utility carts, I got utility carts. When I needed shelving, I got shelving. I thought, okay, why not paper products? So that started our mission of doing paper products. Now we give every client 2 rolls of toilet tissue, a box of Kleenex, and a roll of paper towels. And you would, honestly, you would think it's gold. Well, it was about in 2020. But I had one of our clients that's got to be a good friend, honestly, come to speak to our morning circle, and she talked about how much the food pantry had meant, how much we personally meant to her, and how much the paper products. I mean, you know, we need something, we go to the store and buy it. She talked about how much the paper products meant to her. Well, the morning circle said, hey, we need to help out with that. So from then till now, every single month, our circle donates $50 toward our pantry to help with buying paper products. I've got to say Lee's name. Even before COVID, or maybe it was right at the beginning of COVID, Lee heard of a store in Charlotte that had paper products, and she said, I'll go. So she went with her van, and she bought some things, but she said, you know, that's kind of expensive. I can order for you a whole lot easier and cheaper from Sam's. She's been doing it ever since. Praise God, because I was getting a man with a truck, going to Sam's, because I drive a small Camry, can't handle these big boxes of stuff. I was going to Sam's once a month and with my man with the truck, and we would load up the back of his truck with all these big boxes. And now it's Lee and Jeff just handles it for me. So that is a blessing, 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 blessing. I told you a while ago that I just go talk to managers. I talk to food managers all the time. And I made a joke of it. I said, they see me coming and they run because they know I'm going to ask for something. So finally I went in Food Line and I was talking to the manager, and he said, lady, I mean, honestly, just like, lady, I'm going to give you the name and number of somebody in corporate, and I want you to call and see if she can help you. Well, I was excited. I thought, hey, finally, going to get some help from Food Line. Listen, my son works for Food Line. He was over the Greensboro and High Point stores, and I said, son, can't you help me? No, Mama. Everything we get like that, we have to give to Second Harvest, but it's whatever is in Greensboro. And I thought, well, gee, why should I be disappointed in some manager that doesn't know me when my own son can't help me? But anyway, so I took this name and number, and I said, promise you I won't bother you anymore. This manager probably lied, but anyway, I went home and I called, and it just so happens that Food Line has a program. You can, Lisa, do you know about this? Why don't you tell me? They have a program that you can set up outside their stores. Each organization can do it 2 times a year. You can have up to 5 stores participating on that one day. You can set up and do it from sunrise to sunset. Not during the dark hours, sunrise to sunset. And I thought, oh man, let's do it. So, first of all, I had to go back to these managers and say, do you give me permission on such and such a day? Everybody was very cooperative. I said, I want to do 5 stores. What was I thinking? 5 stores from sun up to sundown? I needed over 50 volunteers. I needed men with trucks that would come to church and get our tables so we could go set up chairs, that kind of thing. Got up in front of everybody at church thinking, where's my brain? Where's my mind? Why am I doing this? But I'm thinking, go big or go home, you know. So I told the church about it, and I had, of course, you know, I had sign-up sheets. I had every store with time slots on it. I said, you can go and volunteer for the time slot you need or you can be available for. And of course, once again, I'm thinking, what if nobody helps? And I've got all this set up with Food Line. I promise you this is the truth. I wouldn't stand up here and lie about it. All the slots were filled but one. I said, I need men with trucks that will come 6:30 in the morning to church to get the tables and all this. Every store had a man's name beside of it, a man with a truck. Every time slot was filled up but one. I had a lady call me and she said, I can't ever remember to sign up at church. Do you have anything available? 1 slot. She said, that's perfect. The store is the one I would have wanted anyway. God's so good. God is just so good. So our Food Line Day was February 22nd of 2020. Coldest day in the whole year. I think it was 18 degrees at 6:30 that morning. Karen's shaking her head. She was there. But we got it done. We got it set up. I had run off our grocery list of all these products and pens. I said, can I have CBC pens? Of course you can. So everybody got a grocery list and a pen, and people went in and bought what they wanted to off the list, brought it back out of the store, gave it to us. Lots of donations. I think there was over $500. People would just say, well, here, just let me give you 20, you know. And that was great. That was just fine. It was a huge, huge, huge success. Remember, this was February of 2020. You know what happened in March? We shut down. The United States shut down. We had lots of food to give away because of the February 22nd Food Line Day. So March, we had our regular pantry. In April, we started our drive-through. Instead of having clients come into the mission house the way, our normal way, we had a drive-through. We're still doing drive-through, and it's been a great success. People pull up, pop their trunk. They don't even get out of their car. Volunteers put the groceries right in the car and they drive away. Several people have tried to help, to get out of the car, and we say, no, just stay in your car, you're fine. One giveaway, a lady got out of her car, and the men were saying, no, you can stay in the car. She ran, promise you, ran to me, threw her arms around me, started crying. She said, please pray with me. I am my daddy's caregiver. He was just put in the hospital with COVID. Well, what do you do but you put your arms back around her and pray with her? And Pastor Dean was there watching this whole time, and he, when she left, now he prayed with her, she left and he looked at me like, are you crazy, Jeannie? And I thought, what do? You pray with her, She was brokenhearted. Had a mask on, never got COVID. I was fine. That was good. So April was still drive-through. We were still doing drive-through. There was no paper products that month because there was none to be had anywhere. Honestly, none to be had. But anyway, it's worked, and our church is very supportive. But I want to tell you about some other contributors that, other than church members, that have just come through and been wonderful. Somehow or other, we're a member of the Cabarrus Baptist Association, but the guy that's over it, Jimmy Barrett, got my name and number from, I guess, the church office, and called and asked about government boxes. I thought, okay, tell me what it is. Yes, I want it, but tell me what it is. And it was a President Trump program to subsidize our farmers. Milk, eggs, fresh vegetables. I'm talking a big, heavy box, all kinds of things. Mostly chicken, but sometimes it would be hamburger meat. Sometimes it would be hot dogs. You didn't know from month to month. But we enrolled in that program. Guess when the truck came? The second Tuesday of every month. Guess when our pantry is? The second Tuesday of every. It's just a God thing. Well, I had to get men with trucks again to go to pick up these government boxes. And if Jimmy would say, I'll have 120 for you, I would say, okay, I'll take it. We always found somebody to give it to, even if it was at the end of the day, and we would bring it to the church for our daycare workers. It was good food. It was just subsidizing our farmers. So it was a good program. Well, that lasted from October of 2020 to May of 21. Like I say, it was a Trump thing. President Biden he's not picked up the program. It is no more. One thing that most people don't know about is, well, COVID changed the world, and restaurants could not have customers come in, but they could prepare and you could go pick up. So Jimmy called from the association and said, would you like some prepared meals? Well, I'm not going to say no. I had no clue what it was, but I'm not going to say no. So it just so happened that our mission house is this is a pun on words, central location for the other Kannapolis food pantries. So we would meet at our mission house, and Jimmy would come with these bags and bags and bags and bags of food that this restaurant had prepared. If they didn't sell it that day, they would call Jimmy. Jimmy would go pick it up, call us. We would go deliver it. So I had a route in my mind. I started way down in Concord, visiting our shut-ins and taking the meals all the way to China Grove, from Concord to China Grove. And several of you were so gracious I could call just like that and say, we've got meals, meet you at the mission house. Just so good, so I wouldn't have to do it by myself. Anyway, that has sort of led up, probably it's been 3 months since I've had that. But I never knew in advance because it was just whatever that restaurant in Charlotte didn't sell that day. And it was a good thing because it gave me a chance to visit shut-ins, even if I was delivering at the door. Larry Compton said it was the best fried chicken he'd ever had. So it was good. It was good stuff. But anyway, that was a good thing. One time, Jimmy called, and I was at the beach. He picks at me about, y'all know I go to the beach a lot, about being out of town. And I said, well, what do you have for me? He had Lance products, crackers and chips and popcorn and all this kind of stuff. I said, hide it. I'll be there Monday. So Monday morning, I was home from my trip. I went down there. The receptionist met me at the door, and she knows me too. She said, just come this way. He had literally hid it in the closet. So I had all these boxes of Lance crackers and stuff to give away, but anything special, our clients are so tickled. They're just tickled to get. So it's such a blessing. One other time, Jimmy called and said, Jeannie, I've got a transfer truck coming in about 8 o'clock, Donna, you remember? It was about 8 o'clock at night. He said, but it's either frozen stuff or things that can be frozen. Can you come? Well, of course I can. Couldn't find a man with the truck, but my daughter stepped in. She said, Mama, I'll go with you. We loaded up, and all 5 Kannapolis pantries were there, and the trucker would say, this is a box of pizza crust, or this is a box of, what else did we get, Molly? Can you remember? Tortillas, whatever. So we loaded up Donna's car, and I told Jimmy, I said, I've got to go. I have no more room. He drives the SUV. He said, fill up my car, and I'll meet you at the pantry when this is over. So we filled up Donna's car. We filled up Jimmy's car. And at that time, it was during COVID. We weren't cooking on Wednesdays. We weren't doing meals or anything. So our freezers were empty. So I was able to put everything in our freezers. We were like kids in a candy store. We had the most fun, honestly, because the driver would step out with the box and this is so-and-so, who wants it? We do. It was just a lot of fun. I want to give thanks to Bath & Body. Our bags, our groceries are packed in Bath & Body bags, and they're sturdy to hold all those heavy candles, and they give them to us. I have gotten Bath & Body bags from Myrtle Beach to Mooresville. After Christmas, they'll give me their Christmas bags. After their semi-annual sales, they'll give me those bags that are left over. Some store managers will say, I can't do it, I've got to send them back. And some store manager says, I've got 3 cases, you can have them. It's just, you just have to ask. And what can they say but no? I get some no's sometimes, but more times than not, I get a yes. So I really appreciate that. I buy a lot of our groceries at Aldi. Oh, and back during COVID, I forgot to mention this. You'd go in the grocery store and there would be limit 2, limit 4. I was driving myself crazy going from store to store to store trying to get everything that I needed for pantry. I finally talked to the pastor and said, I need some help. I can't keep doing this, running all over town. I just couldn't. I'm a lady. Anyway, so y'all picked up and started bringing things, but I was in Aldi's one day, and they had just filled up the shelf with tuna, which is one of our products that we give away, limit 4. I thought, well, what are they going to tell me but to put it back on the shelf? So I filled up the buggy with the tuna. The cashier said, maybe I can override this machine. She tried, it wouldn't work. She said, there's more than one way to skin a cat. We rang up 4 cans of tuna, I paid. We rang up 4 cans of tuna, and I paid. We rang up 4 cans of tuna, and I paid. Do you know how long it takes to ring up about 84 cans of tuna? I had a stack of receipts this tall, but I got that tuna, so there's goodness in everything. That was a funny story. But I'm real good friends with everybody at Aldi, and probably 2 or 3 months ago, the manager called and she said, I've got damaged goods. The food's perfectly fine, it's just damaged and we can't sell it. Do you want it? Well, you think I said no? Thought, I need a man with a truck. Actually, Pat Lemon is my woman with a truck. I can call her, because it's just like this. Can you come right then? She was in the park walking. She said, give me 15 minutes. She said, I'm sweaty, but I'll be there. She came, we went to Aldi's, we got all these damaged goods. It maybe was a case of water with 1 drink missing, or a case of drinks, or a case of anything. just a dent in it, whatever. Perfectly good stuff. We were so thrilled, but one thing, get a lot of meat. The manager said the day before the expiration date, they take it off the shelf and put it in the freezer, so it's perfectly good meat. Last month, I wasn't there because I was sick, but they gave out roasts that were like $20 roast, all kinds of chicken, fish. We're just thrilled to get this stuff. You know, I guess it pays to be friendly because they like to call me and I don't tell them no. But anyway, so that's one way that we're getting some goods. We have several families in our church that are so faithful to buy every month. Karen used to come get my key on Wednesday nights, and while we were back here cooking, she would go to the mission house and unload her car. But we have more families that do that kind of thing, and I'm just so grateful. Last month, I got a call from a man with a truck, and he said, Carson has had a food drive. I can deliver it Monday to your mission house. Well, it was one of our members. His wife is the health services teacher at Carson, and she had instigated the food drive, and it was Kim and Eric came home. Since Kim's the nurse, I can figure that out probably, and Eric said, now, it's not a whole lot, but, you know, it'll help. Yeah, the back of his truck was full. It was full of groceries. So my helpers came, my volunteers are wonderful. They came and we unloaded this, and Kim had not told me about it because it was the first time thing. She didn't know if she would get 3 cans or 300 cans, and she didn't want to embarrass herself. She told me this after the fact. But since it was a success and we were so thrilled to get it, it's going to be an annual thing at Carson now, so they'll have a food drive. Another thing Jimmy Barrett does is he challenges churches that does not have a pantry to have a food drive. And he'll call and say, the room's full of food, come and get half. The room's full of food, you can have a third of it. Whatever he's sharing with, with other pantries. So I call a man with the truck, or I call my woman with the truck, and we go down there and we load up this food and we bring it in. One time, and I'm glad Jeff's here, one time Bob Petrie, I'm just telling you instances of how God blesses us. Bob Petrie called, and he said, Jeannie, there's a trucker at a truck stop over here on Lane Street at 85, and he has zucchini. Do you want it? Well, what did Jeannie say? Of course I do. Of course I want that zucchini. He said, well, you got to have somebody to unload it. So I called Jeff, and I called Dean Beck, and I think they beat me to the mission house, really. They unloaded, and I was expecting 5 or 6 boxes. It was a half a semi-truck, wasn't it, Jeff? It was so much zucchini. But it was all boxed up in cellophane. It was, I guess to deliver to the grocery stores or whatever, but this trucker, if he had an empty truck, he could go home, and that was his goal. So Jeff and Hayden and Dean unloaded that zucchini, and it was very close to pantry time. We just left it under the carport and gave it out. God just blesses like this over and over, and I don't know why I'm amazed. I don't know why I'm amazed, but sometimes I am. I've helped kids with service projects. I've had kids in the church that needed to come help, and I would sign off on the paper that they had done so many hours of volunteer work. I have helped student nurses, and I always find something for them to do, if it's just checking dates or what have you. I've helped several student nurses that needed service hours. I have a granddaughter that loves to help me in the pantry, and so she came one day at our giveaway, and Glenda, where are you? Jim Weston, my man with the truck. I dearly love Jim Weston. He called and said, my grandson's with me, he wants to come. Hey, bring him on, bring him on. Well, there I had my granddaughter, and he had his grandson, and when they saw each other, they just pointed at each other and started laughing. They were both students at Wingate College and knew each other. I mean, how odd is that? But anyway, that was a good day for them. I can't say enough about volunteers. These volunteers are super, super good. Show up, call at spur of the moment, they're there. It's just a wonderful thing. I made a joke, and this is not in my cards, believe me, but if I would ever get married again, it would have to be a man with a truck. That would be one of the criteria. He's got to have a truck. But my men with trucks, my lady with the truck, all the volunteers that come up to pack, to help with pantry, couldn't ask for better. And, you know, sometimes I'll have somebody call, well, I'm sick, I have a doctor's appointment, I can't come, blah, 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 blah. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to be short. Well, duh, somebody will walk in and say, can I help you today? You know, I just want to see what this is about. God never fails us. We have a family that's represented here that buys detergent. Almost every month we have detergent to give away because of this one family, and it is so appreciated. If I'm out of time, I just go to the grocery store and pick it up. Everybody can't do that, and it is everything that's given to pantry is so very appreciated. Do you have any questions? Well, I'm going to close reading a card I received from one of our clients. And it was, got to find it first. It meant so much to me. It was a New Year's card sent the end of 21, just beginning this year. As we near the end of the year, I just want to thank the special people in my life who have listened without judgment, helped without conditions, understood with caring, and loved me no matter what. Now that is from a client sent to me, to us, really, because we don't judge. We just try to help. Thank you so much. I appreciate your attendance.
I will say something. Miss Dana said, she said, the Bible don't talking about food or feeding the hungry.
Pantry.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No pantry, but for sure, Jesus said, for what you do for me, you make
We're-
for another people.
We're doing for him.
Yeah.